Hey, good evening guys. It's been a while since I've done a trading view video, let alone an idea. We just had the hourly close and I'm noticing a few divergences on here that I want to go over and potentially set a long position. Now this long position will be a day trade. It is short term. We're not looking to long the bottom here, but what we're looking for is to take a position and a couple of take profit points. This is a risky position considering the overall trend is down, but I'm going to look at this price action down here, which looks very nasty by the way, as a retest of support before we begin another impulse up. These markets right now are extremely shaky, so keep that in mind, and this is a risky position, but let's go over a few of these bull divs. First, real quick, as we can see here, we're sitting at the bottom of the Bollinger. We're going to go ahead and turn that off, and throw on the guppy here to see that we are in oversold conditions with the guppy. For those of you that don't know what the guppy is, there is a video on my trading view, on my YouTube, explaining it briefly. I was in a position and I was explaining how I take profit with the guppy in it, but it's a series of moving averages. I like to use it to find oversold and overbought conditions. In this case, we are considered oversold. We are under the fastest moving EMA there. So let's take a look at a few of these divs and see what we can find. First, let's go over the RSI real quick. And you know what? We may as well pull up the stock at the same time. So what we want to look for here is approximately, so the RSI goes 14 back. You typically want to measure divergences based on how far back the inputs go on that indicator. And I just measured that and missed it. Okay, so we are going back to there. So if we take it back, even a candle back further, we are seeing an exaggerated bull div on the RSI. We are also seeing it on the stock. What I do want to see here is price action to find a quick bottom here and the stock begin to curve up, creating a little trend line right here. As we approach our take profit points, which I'll get into in a minute, we want to monitor the RSI and the stock to see how capped out they get. Let me go ahead and close these down and flip over to another indicator. Now this is the momentum indicator, otherwise known as the MOM indicator. We are seeing the same bull div there. Let's throw on the CMF while we're at it. So the CMF measures volume, and what we do see here on the CMF cloud is a subsiding sell pressure up into this median line. Ultimately, this is quite a bit of sell pressure, but I'm comfortable enough taking a long position here if we structure the trade right. So we've seen now the bullish divergences on the RSI, the stock, and CMF. We have the flat price action, and those indicators are trending upwards. Okay, so let's take a look at the price action and find out where we take our positions and where our take profits are and our stops. We generally want to take a range when taking a position like this to fill. So I'm going to be looking for really anywhere from around, let's flip over actually to a ray. Anywhere from the bottom of this candle right here up into this 42.72 point, which is a Fibonacci retracement point on the daily and the weekly going back. That's not important right now, but we're looking to take a position somewhere within this range right around here, like so. Let's take that off of there. Once we've done that, we want for next thing that should come natural when you place a buy order always is a stop loss. So where we want to place our stop loss, we're going to place a clear down here at the bottom of this wick at 40.48. If your risk model is slightly tighter, then you can move it upwards, but that's the bottom of the wick I'm looking for. This is not a leverage position. This will just be a cash only position. And as far as our take profits go, we are looking at this 42.52 point that you can see here as our first take profit. We're going to take the initial amount out dollar-wise that we put in and let the rest of it ride to the second take profit, which is pretty generous at this point, but we're going to place that there anyway at 48.55. Those are both swing highs that we want to take a look at. Now we will have a stutter somewhere around here, 45.02. So as we approach this 45.02, if this position ends up taking off, because again, this is in a bearish trend, we are going against the trend here, but let's see if we get a reversal point here. We want to monitor our Stoch and our RSI to see if they are capped out. We also want to keep an eye on the Shiny flow and the OBV. Now, to be honest, the OBV does not look that great. It's really not divergent like our CMF and our other indicators. The OBV does measure volume. If you're interested in what the OBV and the CMF does, check my trading view. I'll try to link it at the bottom of this idea. I have done tutorials on them, and you can learn a little bit about them. Let's take a look at our VPVR, and what our VPVR is, a volume profile. We're going to go to visible range here, and what it does is it measures buy and sell volume based on price analysis instead of our typical time analysis. Now, some of you may know that I'm a big fan of volume analysis. This indicator right here I generally don't use. You can find your oversold and your overbought conditions along with seeing the moving average here in orange of the volume. But for that type of assessment, I typically like to use the CMF or the OBV, and then for the oversold and overbought conditions, I like to use the GMMA, the guppy, as I mentioned before. There is a video on my YouTube where I take profits using the GMMA in the middle of a position. You can kind of get a quick explanation of that or just Google it. But back to this VPVR, we are seeing some pretty decent sell volume here, so we do want to monitor those indicators as we approach that, and if they begin to be capped out and we're looking real nasty, then we'll close the position early. But our first take profit is at this 47.52, and our second one, after we take the initial amount out, is 48.55. From there, like I mentioned before, our stop loss is clear down here at 40.52. That's a pretty loose stop, to be honest, but we're going to roll with it and take our position here. We can already see a slight uptick on that, but that doesn't mean that anything's broken out here. It really doesn't mean anything. You can see there's still a clear trend. Keep in mind, we are in a bearish trend here, so we want to watch this position very closely as we approach that trend to see if we can break up into this. I'm ultimately looking for a reversal here to give us a couple days of relief. Now, as far as this position goes, let's throw on, so I'm looking for this to take place over the next, 3 to 5 hours. So it gives me plenty of time to fill this position and, set my stop and my take profits. I generally don't like to ever take a position against the trend, but in this, we're looking for a second retest of the support. If it holds, then we can maybe see a few impulses going upwards. That's it for now, guys. Make sure you use stop losses and proper trading techniques, because this is a very scary market, even for very experienced traders.